Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Trades Talk Part 2 with Kendel White of K&D Landscaping. We're excited to have you back.
Excited to be here again, back in the studio.
Back in the studio. So, all right, if you have not listened to Part 1 of the Kendel White podcast, go back to the episode 1 or 2 before this and go listen to Part 1 before you listen to Part 2, because we're going to build on a lot of the foundational stuff we talked about. And where we left off, we had a really great conversation around sales and the success you're having as this kind of out of the box, coloring outside of the line salesperson at K&D. And we are going back now to 2007. Take us back to 2007. What did the company look like? What did maybe the org chart look like? Let's start there.
Well, it was me. Your mom was in the office handling all the paperwork, invoicing. I would call in proposals and I would tell her like the verbiage, and she would type it all up and send it to the client.
Yeah.
So that was one of the ways I it was multitasking. But as far as the org chart goes, I had Juan Sotelo in charge of the maintenance division.
Right.
And he just handled it back in the day. I think I appreciate it more now than then because my phone didn't ring.
Yeah.
Juan would meet with the clients. He knew all the properties, and he just got it done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's such a hardworking guy. And
like, if you had to guess your monthly revenue in maintenance back then?
Oh God,
I want to say it was like $30,000 a month or something.
That would probably be like a good year.
Yeah.
Probably between 20 and 30.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
And it was just like keep building it. And we just never lost. No, I shouldn't say never, but rarely did we lose a client. That's why it's so hard, because it's, when you have 160, 200 accounts, you're going to lose some here and there.
Yeah.
It's just inevitable. I still hate to have it happen.
Yeah.
But, properties get sold. There's just a list of things that are totally out of our control. It's the ones that we lose because of quality.
Yeah.
Are the ones that hurt the most.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so Juan ran, I think we probably had, probably 2 maintenance crews. And
Juan and Eddie.
Juan and Eddie, yes. Eddie was the supervisor he ran his own crew back those days. He wasn't really officially a supervisor, but he owned it.
Yeah.
And he took charge of his property. So Juan kind of had Eddie to he didn't really have to babysit Eddie, so.
No, they just kind of bumped heads once in a while when they needed to.
Yeah. And honestly, I still remember one time I was upset and took it out on Eddie, and he basically hey, I don't like it when you talk to me like that.
Yeah.
And he called me on it.
Yeah.
And he was probably only, 19, 20, 21 years old.
Yep.
And it just made me stop and think, you know what? I wouldn't want to be talked to like that either. I'm sorry. And I'll approach it differently next time.
Yeah.
And it really was you learn over years how to talk to people in a respectful way if you want to get results, positive results. Otherwise, it doesn't go well. So it's don't talk to people, don't talk down to people.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother episode, I guess, on how to treat your people. But
well, as an owner, sometimes you get this idea or this feeling like, man, I do so much for everybody. I'm always late, or I'm always here late. I'm always doing so much no one else sees. And sometimes you can get a little bit of this frustration.
Yeah. And it's usually because you roll up on a job site and things aren't that's not how I said, we're going to do this or whatever the case is, and not understanding why they're doing it the way they're doing it. So before you go off on any tangents, get the information.
Yeah.
And then, so they were handling the maintenance, and I had Francisco and his brother and nephews.
Yeah.
It was very much family.
Manuel.
Had Manny or Manuel and Marco.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Eduardo.
Yeah, Marco was kind of starting to run his own crew from time to time.
Yeah, he did.
So it was Eduardo, Francisco, and Marco on construction.
Yep.
Juan and Eddie. And this is also Uncle Mike, too.
Yeah, he worked for
your
us
brother.
off and on. Yeah, my brother Mike. He definitely helped us get organized and safety stuff, amazing metal fabricator. Like anything we needed, like he would weld all these brackets and shovel racks, but he was very like focused and operationally like smart and organized.
Very coming out of a warehouse fabricating place where everything needs to be in a spot.
Yes.
Everything needs to be organized. Everything needs to be clean.
Yeah.
Safety vest, hard hat. I worked with him. I was his kind of like right hand for many years, and he taught me a lot about how to be smart, have a plan. We weren't just bullshitting on the way to the job site. It was like, what are the first 5 things we're going to do when we get there? It was, yeah. So,
Nice.
So you kind of have this like maintenance crew, Juan and Eddie. You have 3-ish, 4 maybe, construction crews. So you've got like 6 crews kind of like operating under you.
Yeah.
What's your day-to-day look like in 2007?
Oh man, it was brutal, honestly. First challenge is to make sure the guys all have work and they know where they're going.
Yeah.
And sometimes I did not have that figured out like the day ahead of time. I remember oftentimes sitting in the hot tub at night, like, what am I going to do with these guys tomorrow? And how am I going to get that done? It would be like this mountain I had to climb. And then like it would come to me sometimes like, all right, I'm going to send those guys over there and those guys over there. And then, so I would get up like at 4 a.m. and like back in those days, it was like write it out, print out MapQuest to get into the job site, you know?
100%.
And just like.
Put it in a folder.
Yeah.
Put
it in a folder. And it just, it was hard because I was constantly trying to keep up with, like, I've created this company now and I have all these amazing people, but the maintenance was the easiest part.
Yeah.
They, Juan and Eddie were handling it, but the construction part, like these guys, like, you got to keep them working.
Oh yeah. Every day you've got to keep them going.
And so I was out just hustling, trying to get jobs and making sure everybody was getting invoiced. I ordered most of the material back in those days. So like, or telling them where to get it and trying to get, making sure that they had everything they needed. So it was a lot on my shoulder.
What do you think if we pulled the numbers for 2007, what do you think the top line revenue was that year?
So 2005, 2006, those were good years. 2007 wasn't bad. I think it was all right. So I'd probably say like right around $1 million, I would guess.
I would say so, right?
I think we went up to like 1.5 in like 2005, 2006, and then we kind of leveled back off.
Yeah, there was like, like 2005, 2006, there was like some school, part 1, we talked about this, but there's some school jobs, Natividad. There was like 5 or 6 big jobs that all kind of like came together over those 2 years.
Yes. Yeah, we were on a roll for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we also had a very good relationship with the school district, and they were just like, they were giving us a lot of stuff, and we just did really good work, and they liked what we were doing, and they had a threshold of, they didn't really have to go out to, get a bunch of bids on certain jobs if it was under a certain amount, and that was just a good little, niche we had going.
Yeah. So let's just double click on that, because California has fucked this up pretty good for most school districts, but a lot of other states still have this like ability.
Yeah.
And I think it's an amazing thing. It's when a contractor in a school district or a city or a municipality, a government funded agency, create a relationship.
Taxpayer funded agency.
Taxpayer funded agency.
Yeah.
We should specify that.
Yeah.
And
Our money.
Our money for our community that we're putting in.
Yeah.
And they're able to get a tremendous amount of value out of their every dollar because they have a relationship with a contractor who does amazing, true, honest work and delivers on what they say they're going to do in the time they say they're going to do it.
Yeah.
And they don't have to go through this giant red tape, pre-construction permitting process. They're able to get a lot of work done in a short amount of time, which is typically the summer and sometimes a spring break.
Right.
And I remember the schools back then were so much better in terms of how they looked, how they were represented. the maintenance and the construction that went into those schools was really well done, not just landscaping, across the board.
Right.
California has now created so many different levels and hoops to jump through, and the unions have gotten involved and bullshit PLAs. And our government in California has really messed this up for the taxpayers and created a lot of non-essential costs that go into a $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 job.
Yeah.
So when you were in this mode and you were working with, whatever school district, what did a normal summer look like going into it? How did you guys prepare? What were the conversations? And, how did maybe someone in Texas or New Mexico, or maybe they could actually still utilize this playbook?
Yeah, usually around spring, February, March, April, sometimes May, they would ask for pricing for their projects that they needed to get done, they were able to not have to do a formal bidding process and drop a bunch of plans. They had those projects going on. But those are capital projects. We have a playground that, like, the border of the playground's falling apart and we need to replace it, because it's made out of wood, and we want to do some blocks, or we have some drainage problems, or the sprinkler on the athletic field system is shot, or it's full of gophers. And so we would just give them a whole bunch of proposals, and then when it got closer to summer, they would start, dialing those in, send us contracts and purchase orders.
Yeah.
And as soon as school was out, man, we were like just on it. We would jump in there, and it was, like you have a time limit. Yeah. And then sometimes we would get towards the end, it's like, oh, we got this other project for you we need to get done. So it was all hands on deck. Yeah, I had relationships with 3 different school districts just locally. Yeah. And so it was good money. The guys were making prevailing wages, and it was a win for everybody because the school districts were getting good value, and they were working with local contractors that, a lot of this is our tax money. I think there's 3 or 4 different bond measures on my property tax that I pay every year, So
to the school districts there.
I think there's 3 for our local one and 1 for the college, or 2 for the college. So it's nice to get a little bit of that money back.
Yeah.
But
not just us, but the team that works for us too.
Absolutely.
So what would you say to someone who says, well, that's not fair because, the union workers should be getting that work?
I'm not sure how that makes sense. Especially I think it's like whoever can perform the high quality work that the district deserves for a fair price, right? And deliver on it, they should get the job. It shouldn't be because you're part of this special club over here that, has a lot of advocates.
And when you were working here, how many of the team members that are working on these school projects were local to where the school district, how many, let's rephrase this. Out of the people that were working, if they had kids, how many of those kids were going to the schools as a percentage of the people working on these jobs?
The big capital projects, the general contractors were typically from out of the area, if not out of the state.
Yeah.
And then, there was some subcontractors. There was definitely some local companies that were on those jobs, but I think the majority of them from out of the area,
And then what about your K&D?
Oh, yeah. For us, I think if they didn't live in Watsonville, they lived in surrounding communities like Salinas, Hollister, almost within the district that we're working in, basically.
Yeah.
Or right next to it.
And well, I think it's just good to highlight that as such a great opportunity to build relationships with the school districts specifically and find a way to help them, make their playgrounds safer, make the school grounds more attractive, make it a better place to go to school.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so $1 million in 2007, and then 2008 hits. What does 2008 look like for you?
Well, it was a shock, honestly. You almost don't know what is happening until it's too late. We had contracts and thank goodness we had a lot of maintenance. we were probably 60% maintenance, 40%, new installs and stuff like that. But all of a sudden, like all the jobs we had, not all of them, but a lot of them, like they pumped the brakes. We're going to wait. We're going to hold off on this. We heard that a lot. We didn't have like any big contracts that got like, that I can remember that got taken back. But we did have a lot of people just holding off and not going through with what we're going to do right now.
Right.
That
was that on all sides, commercial, residential, public works?
Well, for new projects that hadn't been awarded, yes, but honestly, thinking back, a lot of the public works jobs were already funded, and I believe we had a couple of bigger jobs that helped us kind of a little bit of momentum into 2008.
Yeah.
But towards the end of 2008, all those kind of started running out.
Yeah.
And that's when things really got tight.
Yeah.
And everybody pulled back. We doubled down on our, I was like just going to every maintenance property, like, send them a mulch bid. Oh, we need to trim those trees off the building. There's 2 broken sprinklers back there. Anything just to kind of keep the wheels turning.
Do you remember how we got into like chain link fencing?
We chain link fencing.
That's tough work, man. We did a lot of that with Uncle Mike.
Yes, and we had no really idea how to do chain link fencing, but we figured it out.
We did.
Actually, we had a supplier in San Jose, steel fence company.
Yeah.
And there's a guy over there, John, and I would call him like, okay, I got this fence. He's like throwing out all these terms, and he's like, yeah, you're going to need this. I go, okay, that sounds good. He's like, all right, you're going to need a 2 7/8 and posts and, 1 7/8 line posts and top rails and end caps and brace bars. And
yeah,
sounds good. And then I just like give all the parts to the guys. I'm like, we need to replace this fence. And it took a little time, but we got it dialed in. The problem was it's like we couldn't buy any of that material locally. We had to go to San Jose to get it. So, but we did it, and we did whatever we could. I remember pressure washing buildings over at Nordic Naturals on a 80-foot lift because the swallows moved in. Thank God for the swallows.
Yeah, the swallows really. Yeah, it's so illegal now. We were just blasting nests.
Yeah. But I remember the facilities guy over there, Charles. It was a brand new building, and they made gummies. There's like food grade supplements.
Yeah.
So they had inspections. They couldn't have rodents. They couldn't have bird droppings. It was like a safety health thing. And so I don't think the birds had like finished building their nest. They were like partially built when we knocked them down. There weren't any babies flopping around on the sidewalk. There's nothing like that.
No.
But I remember, pressure washing up on the lift with all, and like going down and buying all the squeegees, washing the windows. But we would do just about anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we did a lot of different stuff.
Yeah, some stuff we shouldn't have done. But
yeah.
We had to get through it.
Yeah, and so, going through that, there are a couple lessons that immediately come to mind. Being flexible about what you take on and what work you do. And I think, right now we're in a strong economy compared to 2009. Yeah. Some who had never gone through 2009, a lot of businesses haven't been around for 20 plus years and experienced 2008, 2009. Yeah. So maybe last year or the year before was the worst economy they've operated in as a landscape contractor. Put it in perspective for us. The last 2 or 3 years compared to 2009, is it even in the same ballpark, or was it just like so much harder in 2009 you can't even comprehend?
Yeah, the latter for sure. It was. It's like the difference between playing in farm league and playing in the majors in little league, right? It's just hitting it off a tee versus you got some guy slinging it at you at 80 miles an hour.
Yeah.
There's no comparison. There was just so much. There was like not much meat on the bone, so to speak. And I remember you helping me with the job for Driscoll, actually.
Yeah.
And
so let's cue this one up because this is actually a really cool story.
Yeah.
So we get a call from Driscoll's. They built a big facility out there, trucking in and out distribution hub.
Cooler.
They've got they got what, 6 acres, 8 acres, something like that.
It's a big lot.
Yeah, well, just the area they wanted to landscape though. I remember it being,
I think it was like 4 acres of landscape.
Yeah.
Something like that. About the
4
size of
acres.
property.
Yeah. It was like 200,000 square feet or something.
Uh-huh.
And they came to us and said they want us to design it and provide a proposal, right?
Yeah, and they had a budget of X, which was like,
75,000 or 80,000 or something.
Yeah, I think it was like close to 100.
Yeah, maybe it was
it
close,
was around there.
Yeah.
It was around there.
Yep.
Yeah, and this was when this wasn't the computer's gonna draw it up for you or create this rendering days.
No.
Remember spending a lot of late nights in the office drawing stuff up on the thing and kind of coming up with some ideas and.
Yeah, so I went and measured it out with the walking measure tape.
Roll it in.
And, had a little bit off Google Earth, but not a lot back then. It was a new facility, so there wasn't much on satellite, and there wasn't much available on satellite either. Mm-hmm. So I had to kind of draw this thing up from scratch and from our hand surveying. And we got it pretty well dialed in. And I remember we got like the outline. Uh-huh. And then we had this transparency sheet we'd put on top of it, and we'd like draw all these different ideas, trying to figure out. We draw it, and then we'd hand do a bid and be like, $200,000. Shoot.
Yeah. Yeah. How are we going to get this thing down?
So we ended up coming up with a really cool creative solution. We designed in, 12-foot ground cover at maturity, Arctostaphylos, Ceanothus, and Cotoneaster. We spaced them 8 to 10 feet on center, and we did drip irrigation line to everything.
Base bid
was $98,000, and then we said, "Hey, you guys didn't specify freaking anything." They hired us, or they didn't hire us. They didn't pay us, but we had us.
No, we were not on retainer.
I don't remember the other 2 bidders. Do you?
There was a big Salinas company.
Yeah, it was, huh?
I can't remember the third one.
Yeah. So, we still compete, friendly competitors with them.
Yeah, good company.
And so we end up providing them a base bid that would get the job done.
Yeah.
And then we said, hey, you got a lot of gophers. It'd be a good idea to do gopher baskets.
Yeah.
And that base bid, we would have probably barely lost like $1,000. Like we were going to lose money at that.
It was a break-even scenario, but we keep our guys working.
We kept our guys, yeah. and the strategy was, okay, this is like, they're going to say yes to this almost for sure on the base bid. And now we got to try to sell them on the extras. So we had upgrade with gopher baskets, $20,000 or something. We had to upgrade to hard piped bubblers to every plant.
Yes.
That was a big upgrade. And then we had to upgrade to entire area weed fabric.
Yes.
Those were the 3 ad alternates that we provided.
Yeah.
And I remember going into their office.
And we gave them a maintenance bid.
And it was really like a $700 a month maintenance. I think it was $750. I think it was like.
Yeah, we had our maintenance pretty well dialed in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember it being like, I don't know. I feel like that was the address.
And we were just praying that they would go for the weed barrier if they chose the maintenance.
So this is 2010, I want to say, right?
Sounds about right. Yeah.
So
it was
I think it was 2010.
Because 2008 had a hangover that wouldn't quit.
Yes.
It was just kept.
We're still grinding, staying alive, barely. 2010, I'm 21, and I remember walking in to the cooler in the offices and go upstairs and sit down with
Tom Huff.
And I mean, I'm so out of my league here. I'm a high school dropout. Neither of us have any type of education. These guys are both like Cal Poly grads and just intelligent, well-dressed, smart professionals that work for this multi-billion-dollar agriculture company. And we sat down at the table and it was my turn to present, and I presented the bid, the base bid. I said, I think these 3 things should be done, and this is why. And they go, all right, we'll review this and get back to you. And I remember the phone call when they said, hey, we want to hire K&D, and we decided we're going to take all 3 of your ad alternates.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
I remember talking to him later, and during the project or after it, and they had some kind of open house or grand opening, and they invited us, and I don't know how it came up, but like, you know, how come you chose us? What was the differentiator? You know, he's like, you know what it was? Honestly, you guys had a great bid, so did they, but when you gave us a maintenance bid with your proposal, you had it. You had me at that point because you guys were thinking ahead.
Yep.
And you're going to like maintain what you put in, because that type of a landscape needs good maintenance for it to grow in properly, right? We're talking like you're planning ahead when you're planting ground cover at 10 feet centers, you know? It's like, it's going to take some time. But
we offered some kind of like 5-year, or some kind of guarantee that if a plant died, we replace it too.
And we still maintain that property, don't we?
We still maintain it today. Yeah, 16 years later. And it's been really cool as I drive by there from time to time, you know, because Uncle Johnny lives out that way. And actually we can see the cooler from his house.
Yes.
It's kind of cool. I remember when we were just getting this job and installing it, you could see all of the work we were doing from the property. And still to this day, it's pretty cool to drive by there and look at trees that we planted, that I designed. I drew on a piece of paper 16 years ago. Now they're, you know, 40 feet tall, providing shade, and all the ground covers filled in. It's like, you know, pretty much covering the whole place.
Yep.
Yeah.
The vision is being realized for sure. It's awesome to see that.
And then we had another big project that came about, and I think this is a really an inflection point in my career. I think K&D's history as well. You know, we had this job opportunity come about thanks to your relationships with auto construction and at that point John, and you know, they asked us to bid on this VA project in Marina. That was intimidating.
That was a big one there. That was probably 3 times the size of anything we've ever, and way more complicated.
Putting that bid together was pretty intense. I remember it was thousands of plants.
It wasn't just one bid. It was a budgeting process that lasted, what, a year? Or
no, 3 years, I want to say. It started in 2010. We got the contract in 2013, late 2012. Remember we had to move those trees?
I do.
That was actually really cool.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
The tree spade for the small ones that were only like 20 feet tall. And then watching those guys come in. Arborwell come in and box up.
Absolute professionals.
Massive cypress trees.
Yeah. Like as big as you can think of a tree, that's how big these trees were.
Yeah.
You know, 50 feet tall.
I think it was a 200-ton crane they brought in or something like that.
Yep.
And what a process that was.
Yeah, the boxes were like 14 by 14 feet, 20 by 20 feet.
Yeah.
Like that's how big the root ball was that they built. And it took them days to get those trees excavated and ready to move.
Yeah. That was an awesome, challenging project.
And then that project was going okay. We weren't making a lot of money on it. It wasn't looking good. And then we had the opportunity to bid on, so this is right in time where like America was faced with terrorism at a really high degree, right? We were having a lot of threats.
Well, ever since 2001, it was like, it changed everything on, you know, any government building for sure.
Right, and this is the VA.
This is the VA.
Department of Defense.
Yep.
So they had to have barriers around the entire building that had an opening no larger than 5 feet. Mm-hmm. And they said, we're going to have the civil guys give us a price for bollards.
Yeah.
Every, 4 feet, 10 inches. And then we're going to have you guys give us a price for vehicle barrier boulders.
Big as boulders.
These boulders are like, obviously still there. You go look at them today. They're like 5 by 5 by 5.
Yeah, the smallest one is probably, 4 feet across, the little one, Most of them are 5 to plus feet in diameter.
So we bid this as a change order. It was a huge change order. It was like $750,000. And I remember we priced out the boulders, and it was just so extreme, the price. We couldn't propose it. And we were trying to figure out what type of boulder and all this. Remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that.
What was that like? I mean, going back and forth with BFS and Otto and the owners.
Yeah, no, it's a learning experience because it's like, how can you get the budget to where you'll get the job, but still deliver the right product to meet the specs?
Yeah.
And you just start like all your resources, you're making phone calls, talking to different people. Where can I get big boulders, you know? And the trucking obviously is a big deal.
Yeah, they can move like 4 boulders at a time.
So somebody gave me the lead to contact Granite Construction at their Hanley quarry, and I believe it's in Gonzales. And I went out there with Mark Cicito, I think it was, and we looked at big boulders, and they had them. There was a lot of them.
Yeah.
And then we got a bid from a trucking company, and he was like, yeah, you want the end dumps. That's the best way to move them.
Yep.
And so, okay. So got a bid from a trucking company and put it all together, submitted the bid. And after, some more back and forth, they finally said yes. Yeah.
And then we got to get to the point where we had to put them in.
Yes.
And have them inspected and approved, not just from an aesthetic standpoint from the architect, which was hard enough.
Yeah.
But also from a safety perspective from the ownership representative, the DOD. So you were trying to make all these people happy.
Yeah.
And, big shout out to Raphael and Eduardo on that job. But Raphael really came through on those boulders. Like his ability to put those in, they couldn't be more than 5 feet apart.
Yeah. I remember when we first started doing it, because we rented the biggest excavator that we could get our hands on.
Yeah.
That had rubber tracks because it was already paved.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It was already paved.
Right.
So we rented a big grade all forklift.
Yeah. Yep.
And then a big excavator. I remember working with him and setting on like one side. And then he's like, let me try it, and I never got back in that excavator after that, like those guys had it, they handled it. So.
And the sidewalk was already in.
So everything, yeah.
That was
we had one staging area to dump the boulders in, but then we had to transport them around the whole building and set them.
Yeah.
And that was nerve-wracking. And I remember one getting dropped too.
Yeah. We dropped one on the sidewalk, I think.
One. Yeah, but it was okay.
But the thing is, I don't care if we to say this now, but like we had bid that work not knowing how much those boulders were going to cost, because Granite Construction was kind of like, well, we're not sure.
Right.
Yeah. We kind of like estimated some numbers, but when it came,
Yeah, we know like a cubic foot, a boulder weighs about 75 pounds per cubic foot.
Yes.
But different rocks have different density, and then they're all not exactly, 4 by 5. Some of them are 5 by 6. Some of them are 4 by 4. It's a moving target.
Yeah. Well, and they had to have they couldn't be less than a certain dimension.
Right. Or you got to put 2 of them in there.
And we did some of that.
Yeah.
And over 100 boulders, I want to say.
Yeah.
It was like 120, but anyway, we got to the end. I remember this. I was so nervous to get that invoice from Granite because, this could make or break it.
Yeah, definitely.
And it was like 50 grand or something, or less than that. We had budgeted 300,000 for material, and it was like nothing. I remember being, and I remember them telling us, well, you guys, those big boulders are actually really like a pain in our ass because no one wants them. Right. We have to crush them or move them or get rid of them, or they're not really good for the quarry.
Right.
So we actually scored, and I think we ended up getting out for some ridiculous material cost. Trucking came in under. Yeah. We made 80% gross margin on that change order, and it just saved our ass.
It really did. Yeah. And
propelled us into this next phase that we're about to enter, which is this revolution of 2015, where we recreated the company. And that money didn't start flowing in until 2015.
It was slow
2016.
incoming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I do have one lesson I want to share from that job. So I was receiving the boulders when they came in. I was making sure dump them right here. I remember sitting on, and then when they would dump them, I would get the excavator and move them out of the way so they can dump the next load. And I was sitting in the excavator, and they were dumping some boulders, and the trailer came up, and I was looking in the back of the trailer, and like 3 or 4 boulders, a bunch of them slid down anyway, but then some got stuck up in the trailer.
Yeah.
And so as that trailer came up, those boulders came loose and came flying down and hit the boulders that were already on the ground. And a chunk of one of those boulders flew straight at me, and it hit the windshield of the excavator and just shattered it. Whoa. And I was just sitting there like, oh my God, I just about got killed just now, you know?
Whoa, yeah.
And it was like never thought about that possibility. So it's just one of those lessons in safety that you don't necessarily think about, but it's a good one to remember.
It's a good lesson to share.
Yeah.
I think when you're in those environments and you're moving heavy equipment or heavy material, just taking a moment to pause and asking yourself what could go wrong right now. Mm-hmm. But that's really good. Yeah, when you're moving boulders, shrapnel basically is what it is.
Yeah, stuff that can kill you.
So about this time, 2013, you guys, you and Dawn, mom to me, you guys incorporated.
Yes, 2013 was that.
And you tell me a little bit about this. You guys decided a little bit of a tax play that you would incorporate in November, like November 1st. So you could have 2 tax returns and you could kind of like, make one of the entities lose a bunch of money this year and the other not lose them. It ended up being a complete
I don't
disaster.
think that was like an intentional strategic maneuver. I think it was just like, oh yeah, let's incorporate. And that's when it happened. You know?
Yeah.
Which obviously was a bad idea, incorporating.
Yeah, I remember that. I don't remember too much specifics other than it was a headache.
Yes.
For like multiple years, there's like amendments of taxes having to be redone and it was just the whole thing.
Yep.
Bank accounts switched over.
Lots of lessons learned.
So incorporate it the calendar year if possible.
Yeah. Get it dialed in, and then as like January, whatever your fiscal year is, we run a January to December, but yeah.
So you decided to offer ownership opportunities to me, Shane, and Kelsey, the 3 kids, in 2013. What was kind of the thought process behind that?
Well, got some advice from our attorney and tax person, mainly the attorney, in explaining like if you ever plan to sell, like someday, you want to sell the business of the kids or turn it over to the kids. At that point, it wasn't worth, zillions of dollars or anything, but someday we're hoping it would be.
Yeah.
The thought process was if you can gift them equity when the business is only worth, let's say, $500,000, and they don't have to pay tax burden on that because you have an umbrella amount you could gift without tax implications.
Right.
But if you wait till the business is worth $5 million and then you gift it to them, and it goes above that ceiling of gifting, they have to pay taxes on that.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, well, let's give them a little bit now, and then as they contribute more into the business, sweat equity, we'll ratchet that up over time.
Yeah.
Which will incentivize them. And my thought process was like, someday I want to be able to step back, and I want them to be motivated to grow the business. That way, their 5 or 10% will be worth a whole lot more.
Yeah.
So that was the thought process behind that. And obviously it takes a certain amount of trust and confidence in the kids, but we raised you, and I think we raised you in the right way, and hoping that you would want to be part of it. Yeah.
And so this is just to kind of give everyone listening a bit of an idea of where things are at. 2013, I'm like 24, 23, 24. Shane's 21, Kelsey's 18. Mm-hmm. You guys are in your late 40s. This is really early for most business owners to bring their kids on as owners. But, after that decision and that moment, I just remember going into 2014, having a completely different mindset because we had ownership in the business, no matter how small it was. I think it was like, like 3% or 3, 2, and 1 or something like that.
I don't even remember the percentages in those days, but you were working with the company pretty much full time. I mean, off and on.
Yeah. I'd get into my little side gigs of doing, selling weed or whatever I'd have a good summer and I'm like, I'm going to take a few months off.
Yeah. And it was always like, I'm not going to force you guys into working with the company, but it's here if you want it, if you want to earn money, because I'm not handing it over otherwise. And so I was like, it's here. And there wasn't a lot of pressure. I don't feel like I would put you guys under a lot of pressure to be part of it. And so when I got super busy, I would hit you up, say, hey, we got this big job. You want to help out? And you were kind of back and forth for a few years. And I think it worked the same way with Shane.
It was really, for me, it was that VA job that really pulled me in. Because I remember, running when I was 18, the Monterey County Health Department job. I'm going to use air quotes here, running, because Eduardo really ran it. You really ran it, but
you were handling the paper on it. Right?
I was doing the paper.
You were the project engineer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that was something that clicked for me, was the paper, the math.
Yeah.
And so I was basically making ends meeting outside of work by selling weed. And so I would go up and I'd buy, back then, this is like, it'd be crazy to talk about on a podcast 20 years ago or whatever this was, right. It was 15. But I would go up to NorCal and I'd buy 5 pounds and I'd go down to SoCal in LA, like the middle of the LA city where my buddy was there. And I'd stay at his house for a few days and we'd just sell it out of his house. And we would be making $1,000, $2,000 a day over the course of a week. And that was really good money, And so that would pull me away from the business because I would have all this cash all of a sudden and then that would kind of run out. Right. Or I'd get robbed. I was robbed at gunpoint 3 times and, all this gang taxes you have to pay and all this bullshit politics you have to get into once you start moving weight. And I was just like, this isn't, like, I'm not built for this life, And then the VA job came around and I was like, oh, wow, I could do the same thing that I was doing with the weed game, but I'm selling boulders. Like I'm buying and selling and like I made, $300,000 on this change order. I'm like, oh shit. Like it's the same thing, gross profits 50% in weed. You buy for 200, you sell it for 400. Well, you do the same thing in landscaping. And so I really started to get excited about the business in 2014 and started to really like see this as a legit career. And the ownership, I think, looking back, really helped.
Good. Well, that was a desired effect. I didn't know about the whole weed thing,
I kept that pretty under wraps.
I mean, I knew you were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I did some entrepreneurial things back in high school too, so maybe that kind of runs in the blood a little bit.
I have noticed when I talk to a lot of people off air, some will talk on air, but a lot of people who are entrepreneurs today had some level of wheeling and dealing, whether it was selling skateboards or it was something else,
make a few bucks and
selling cars.
Yeah. Parts off of motorcycles.
Yeah. Little bike shop. So everything really, really changed in an interesting way in 2015. And I want to ask you a little bit about that. It was a pivotal point for a lot of different parts of your life and the business. Yeah. But, you and mom split, you guys got a divorce and, we made the decision together that the best thing was for her to get bought out and retire from the company. Mm-hmm. So we did that. And that really started this partnership between you, me, and Shane. A little bit of Kelsey and a little bit of Jessica, but really it was us 3 at that point that were more, I think you retained, 75, 80% ownership, but our ownership went from, 2 or 3% to 15% or something. So, the question I have for you in that time was, you're 49, 50, I'm 25, 26, Shane's 22, 23, and you ended up handing the business over in terms of the leadership of it to me as a CEO in that 2015, 2016 timeframe. That's not something most people will do when they're 50 years old. They wait till they're 65, 70. Walk me through that a little bit.
Yeah, obviously it was very emotional. We had been together for 29 years, been married for 29, I should say. Probably together for a little longer than that.
Right.
And so obviously that was a big hit. And I had been working so hard for so long that, you know, I just needed like to catch my breath in a way. You'd been working full time for the company at that point, obviously. Like,
Yeah.
you were all in.
Yeah, I was all in.
Yeah. And, you know, we had been through a lot already because you were in 2008 and all that period, even though you were kind of off and on, you know, like you always like, had a good head on your shoulders. When you were young, I figured you'd be a lawyer because you could argue anything.
Still can.
Yeah. You're putting your skills to good use now. But you basically came to me and said, Dad, I want to run this company. I felt at that point that you deserved a shot just because of, you know, the value you brought to the company, although obviously had my reservations because it's a lot, you know, and but I needed a break, and I felt like, you know what, I think you can. I'll be here. I'm not like leaving. I'm going to leave for a few weeks, and you know,
Yeah.
I gotta get out of here. And so I took you up on your offer basically, and knew that if we worked together on it and like we're committed, I think, you know, obviously it was a big transition.
Yeah.
But I felt like if I didn't give you that shot, I felt like you probably would have maybe gone and done something on your own and started your own company or go work for somebody else, which was the last thing I wanted.
I might have threatened that.
Because I did feel like, you know, you had just a natural, I think one of the guys that we were meeting with from the bank, he said you just got a natural business acumen, you know? Yeah. And I agreed with that statement. And you have different skill set than I have. And I just said, let's see what happens.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just a really interesting case study. By no means did we have a master plan, but the ability for you to hand over not just the title, but truly allow me to go and make decisions that impacted the business in every way. You know, renegotiating our line of credit, changing our email address, changing our logo, redoing a website. I mean, there was, you know, giving the team raises or firing certain people.
Right.
I mean, it was intense.
And I do think we also have to back up a little bit and mention the business coach aspect.
Well, this is right in that same time.
Because
right?
that was part of the mix, right? That was the matrix that was happening at that time.
It's a missing piece of...
You were pushing hard for a business coach at that same time as transition. Yeah. And so once I decided to support you in that, that was one of the best decisions that we've ever made, to bring on Jonathan Goldhill, because he not only was an amazing business coach, but he was like a mediator for the family.
He 100% was a mediator and a therapist of sorts.
Therapist, for sure. Yeah. He deserves kudos for helping us through that time and helping you like do the right things, you know?
Yeah.
Not like it was perfect, but you know, all the things that were done in those few years, you know, were like what helped get us to where we are today. It was a total, like, instead of running it like a mom and pop, which it was, is running it like, okay, these are the things you got to do if you want to scale this company.
Yeah.
You have to do this and this and this and this. And if we knew how much work that was going to be, like when we first started it, and this goes to a lot of things, if I knew how hard it was to, you know, build a house or whatever, if we knew how much work it was going to be when we first started, we might not have fucking tried it.
Yeah.
But we just like, this is like one thing at a time, you know, and And you just build on that and build on that. And then there's some setbacks, but I feel like the late nights, the early mornings, the hot days, the cold mornings, you know, you got to go through those things in order to appreciate, like, to get to the point where we are today.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
what's really interesting is, you know, we're still in this $1 to $2 million range, kind of depending on the end of the month, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he taught me how to read a balance sheet, do a P&L. I mean, we restructured our banking relationships, but one of the biggest things is he said, hey, we need to set a BHAG.
Yeah. What?
What is this big, hairy, audacious goal? I never really liked the term. I'm in love with it now. But I was like, this is dumb, you know? And
Yeah.
so we gave our BHAG, what was?
Came up with 30 million by 2030 with 300 employees.
30, 300.
Yeah.
And then every decision was, does this work?
Right. Does this get us goal?
And because we had that lens, we were able to make decisions that we would never had made, or I think any of us, you or I, or other owners for the previous 30 years of business.
No doubt. No doubt. Because if we're going to get there, it's like, we're going to have to bid on, do you want to bid on this job, that job, or that job? It's like, we're going to bid on all those jobs.
Yeah.
And if we get them, we'll figure out like the manpower, you know?
And then we were trying to figure out our purpose.
Yes,
Remember
that
that?
was the next thing. What's
Simon
your purpose?
Sinek.
Like, what our purpose? What?
I was like, this is so dumb. This isn't going to
Our
help.
purpose is to make money and have a good life.
I just remember you kept going back to just live the way we want to live and provide for the family. Jonathan's like, it's got to be stomach churning, and we were like, we want to help first generation immigrants. You know, which we do.
Right.
But like, that's not the reason we're in business. And then
I remember we were at that beach house at a planning session. I still remember sitting around that table, throwing ideas out there.
it was so weird. We were trying to figure out where is this coming from? And then somehow, I don't remember how it came about, but we landed on this idea of improving the professionalism of the landscape industry.
Yes.
We were frustrated by the way landscaping was treated. And a lot of this goes all the way back to Aptos High School. When I was 17, I dropped out of high school and I was working at the same high school.
Looking through the fence at all the girls.
Well, I had my girlfriend at the time was going to school, and I'd be over there like on my break, like, you know, schmoozing through and the general contractor's like, what the I'm like, that's my girlfriend. And he's all, dude, you're a construction worker. I'm like, yeah, but I'm only 17.
I'm on break.
And it was like such a bad look for them. But anyway, I remember
because they had this thing, it's called the 3-second rule. When you're working around a high school or one of those campuses, it's like, you do not look at any student for more than 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
So I remember it rained, and
a lot that year. It rained a lot.
The roof was not on the building, but the concrete was poured.
Yep. It filled up.
And it had 1 inch, 2 inches of water across this entire gymnasium.
Doesn't look like much.
And we somehow
that was another one of those things.
Sold a change order for me and Uncle Mike to sweep up water into 5-gallon buckets. Shot back, however we could do it.
Yeah.
And then I'd like walk these 5-gallon buckets out and dump them into the drain. And I remember this because they were still finishing the fabrication, the metal fab. And this iron worker was just talking mad shit to me. And he was just like, you know, you better pick that shit up, you dumbass punk kid, landscaper, like you're nothing basically. Wow. He was all tattooed and burly and you know, a badass climbing up on this. And I was just like, man, I want to be the guy that makes landscaping cool. I want to be that guy, but I want to actually do it for the right reasons and make landscaping something that we can be proud of. And that all freaking snowballed to 10 years later when we came up with the Raise the Bar. For me personally, was like, I want landscapers to be respected on the job site. We're still working on it, but we've made progress.
Yeah. A lot of progress. Especially, I feel like with all the green movement, all the bioswales and retention ponds, And like it seems like more and more landscaping are on these projects. And I talked to my cousin who works for a general contractor in Mississippi, and he's like, you know what our landscaping budget is for, this big ass building? It's like $10,000.
Yeah.
And out here it'd be like a $300,000 job. They just don't put the value in it like they do in California. So for all of its faults, I do have to say that like all the stormwater rules, they have to keep water on site for a certain amount of time. It's really helped us have a lot more scope on every job.
Exactly.
Bioswales and such.
So yeah.
Good stuff. Anyway.
And so 2016, we finalized we had the vision, the 2030 BHAG, then we came up with the Raise the Bar.
Yeah.
And then we went from short of 2 million to 5 million in revenue. And I looked this up, we hit 5 million in revenue in November of 2018 on a trailing 12. And in 2016, we were doing under 2 million. So it went from 1 and change to 5 million in 24 months, which is like, thinking back to that, isn't that crazy?
Wow. Yeah, that is crazy.
And then we went from 5 to 10 million in another 24 months. I was looking at the numbers recently, and I was like, wow. Like we were on a rocket ship.
And we were feeling it. It was hard to keep a handle on everything,
Yeah.
Didn't have the structure. We're making it up as we go and chasing a lot of things.
What was some of the most pivotal moments in that 5-year period from, 2015 to 2020? When you look back at that whirlwind of 5 years, what were some of the moments that you look back to that were, decisions we made or things we did that you feel really helped us ultimately become that $10 million company?
Well, building relationships with general contractors was a huge part of it.
Yeah.
And property management companies.
Yeah.
Like, I remember being the guy that would, go out there and I think having you and some support, like to do a lot of the bidding, even though I was still involved, I was out like being the business developer.
Yes.
Before I knew what a business developer was.
Yes.
Is going to Avila, going to Asonia. I would drop in their office and hang out with them, talk to the project managers. What are you guys working on? What's coming up?
Yeah.
And same thing with the school district. We had a really good relationship, with the planning department, and then the property managers, just to like keep that work coming in, and then having good support in the back end of things too. It just, everybody had to elevate.
Yeah, very quickly too.
It was a lot of, I remember because we moved our office over here around in 2013, right?
Yep. Yeah, 2013.
Like 3 little offices.
We got red tagged and we had to figure something out.
We got red tagged in 2015, but we already had our office here.
Yeah.
But Fox Shocks had the lot next to us full of containers, and they like vacated.
Yeah.
Right about the time we got red tagged to Primrose. And so then we moved over here, which was a blessing in disguise.
Very serendipitous. A lot of just like random things that happened that led to where we are today. And we broke out the company into departments around 2018 too.
Yes.
We had maintenance, commercial construction, and that was kind of it. And then Jeremy Ross came on right around 2017.
Yeah.
And I guess 2018, and so Jeremy Ross really, and Josh and that team.
We hired Josh first, didn't we?
Josh came on and he brought over Jeremy and a bunch
remember
of the
Josh
team.
and I, we were trying to get that residential department up and running, and man, we wasted a lot of time we did a lot of good things, don't get me wrong, but our approach was like, we were basically like, designing these projects for people, and they'd be like, I don't think so. We had just spent hours, bidding all this stuff, and we just didn't have a good way to articulate. Like, we didn't have the 3D renderings back in those days.
I know, Oh, if we had Your Haven back then, we
would have killed it.
Yeah.
But we were pushing hard, Yeah. Yeah. So it was a lot of trial and error on a lot of things, and try different things and see what works. And
so what was it like for you to allow me to have this like control of the company, making decisions with your support and sometimes your involvement, but a lot of times not. You gave me, when I talk to other people today who are in my position, right? They're taking over for their dad or their mom. Usually it's a father son, and they're 30, they're 35, maybe they're even 40. Their dad's 60, 70 years old. And he's like, oh my God, I can't even send a bid out without my dad's approval, let alone like I would never talk to the bank.
Yeah.
But you were, and I think some of it was I really was pushing for it, but to those watching, they always ask me the same question, and I just would love to ask you that. Like, how did you let go at that time?
Okay, there's a lot to that, and it's hard to put myself exactly where I was at the time, but I can try. And once I got over the initial shock, was going through the divorce, and almost like here, handle the company for a while, Justin.
Yeah.
But then when I got back, it was like, you know what? It's nice not having to people still came to me, and I was like, talk to Justin. Because I remember for a while there, it was kind of like you were officially the CEO, but people were still coming to me.
Yeah.
And at one of our board meetings, it was like, or maybe it was like just you and me, but it's like, and I think Jonathan was with us.
Yeah, I remember this.
It was like, if there has to be one person in charge, otherwise nobody's in charge. Yep. And I still remember that, and it's so true. So at that point, that was a turning point. So when people would come to me, I would say, you need to talk to Justin. And that was really liberating in a way, because I had been like the go-to solving everybody's freaking problems since day one, Yeah. In the beginning, it was just my own, but after a while, you get all these people coming to you with all their problems to solve, and it was nice. Like, I didn't have to I'm still here to support like I do today. People come when they get stuck on something, I want them to come to me, but I have the bandwidth. Like, I can, I'm here to help. But back in those days, I was so burned out from having to carry the load for so long that, and it wasn't because I was old. It was just because I had worked hard, and it was just time to get off of that, treadmill for a little while. And then it's like, you know what? I kind of like this, and then it was the fact that you were doing such a good job. And you built that trust over time. It wasn't like I just handed it over and went to Hawaii,
Yeah.
You earned it. You were making good decisions. You were getting good results, and you were earning the respect of our team. And yeah, there were some hiccups, and everybody makes mistakes, and sometimes things don't work out how you plan them to work out, but when you okay, there's an obstacle, let's go around it and keep going. I mean, that's what's gotten me through life, is when people life throws obstacles at you, you figure out a way to get around it, over it, or under it, whatever the case may be, or sometimes you have to go through it.
Yeah.
So over time, you just kept impressing me by what you were doing, and making me proud. And I just felt like if I was ever going to be able to pull back and be able to have some flexibility and go, on vacation, and I love to go in the Sierras and go backpacking, and I'm out of communication. I was going to have to trust somebody, and you were like the obvious choice, because you wanted it. You were hungry, Going back, like I said, if I wouldn't have given you that chance, I know you would go somewhere else and do great things. So, it was kind of a natural decision, but in order for it to work and continue, you had to earn it and prove that you could do it. And you were always looking for another challenge, and I want to do this, and you had all these ideas. And you had the coaching to help you fill in the stuff that you didn't know, but you just had the right mindset.
Yeah.
So over time, you built confidence by proving you could do it, and it was exciting to think that this company might actually go to 30 million with 300 employees, you know?
Yeah.
And so I started thinking about the whole watermelon and grape concept, right?
Yeah.
You can either own a whole grape or a piece of a watermelon. And so when it came to the equity equation, I was like, okay, so going back to what I was talking about earlier with tax implications and all that, it's like, you know, let's talk about equity transition and estate planning when the company's at a point where, you know, we can transfer some of this stuff and still have plenty to go around if we continue the growth of the company.
Yeah.
So that's that was kind of the thing in my back of my head also. It's like, if I try to run everything, I don't want to, you know, work 60 hours a week and be the, you know, the tip of the spear, so to speak. I'm happy to be in a supportive role, but have a flexible schedule.
Yeah.
You know? So all those things were kind of going through my head, but it only works if you follow through and do the things to get us to where the goal is and where we want to go. So
Absolutely.
and I
And follow through.
certainly have no regrets about that now. And that's like the understatement of the day for sure. So, yeah, I'm glad I did it.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's, you know, when someone puts their trust in you, especially your dad, there's a subconscious thing that happens, I believe, where you aren't proving yourself right anymore. It's like you want to prove them right. And you want to work as hard as you need to work to make their decision a good decision. Because you want to make your parents proud. And you want to make those that believe in you proud. You want to make your coach proud, right? With Jonathan. Yeah. And so when we set these goals, there's this underlying, you know, fire that I'm just like, I've got to deliver on this because these people I love and trust had put kind of like almost sacrificed their life in certain ways to allow me to have this opportunity. And I'll be damned if I'm going to let that go to waste. On top of external purchases, I've always leveraged myself. Like I bought the, you know, brand new Malibu Wakesider boat in 2016. I, you know, other purchases, bought a house, investment house, bought a second house. And, you know, every time I bought something, like you were saying, it was always barely. Like I almost always had to borrow money or, you know, figure out a new comp package that I could get a down payment on it. But those decisions of leveraging myself, whether it was the boat or the side-by-side or the house in Idaho, forced me to get to another gear. Mm-hmm. And then I started surrounding myself with new people and different people. And, you know, the snowball just builds from there. And if you've as listened to this Trade Stock podcast long enough, you've heard my story. And I really appreciate you sharing that because your belief, trust, and ultimate sacrifice was the fuel I needed to do what I ultimately did with, and I don't mean that by like me. I just mean, you know, a lot of it was me, but a lot of it was the team.
I think it was kind of the perfect scenario, honestly, because I felt like I'm a hard worker, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm fairly intelligent, but I felt like I've taken the business as far as I can take it, as far as growth goes.
Yeah.
And we could have kept going at that rate, you know, but it would have been a ceiling on growth, which didn't need to be there. So it was a perfect time to hand the baton off because I'm here to not only help continue to move the company forward by mentoring new team members, helping with technical stuff on, you know, when guys get stuck on drainage or some retaining wall problem, like everybody like can come to me. And I enjoy helping the team in that regard, you know, and
you're not stressed out beyond belief.
I'm not stressed out.
You're able to help them.
My stress level is so low. It's amazing. It was high for so long.
Yeah.
So it's worked out really good for me. And I think it's worked out good. I know it's worked out good for you.
Oh, yeah. And I would say my stress level is very low as well because I'm in a place that I absolutely love operating in. And for whatever reason, I guess I'm bored or something because I keep starting other businesses or doing this podcast or whatever. It's like, I don't know, maybe it's a bit of a disease, but I want to ask you this question. Our new BHAG is quite large. It's so big that I think most of us have a hard time wrapping our heads around it. Yeah. The goal is to build this organization to $1 billion in value by 2035. Yeah. We have some other milestones in there, but when I say that, how does that make you feel?
That one's hard to even get my head wrapped around it. I mean, I have nothing but confidence in you and our team.
Yeah.
I just, I know for us to do that, there's acquisitions, right?
Maybe
not. I'm super impressed and stoked with our organic growth.
It's kind of crazy how much
it feels really good. It is. I feel like we're on this it's a flywheel, and it's like just gotten so much momentum going, and things are clicking, and I feel like we have the right people in the right seats, and the team that we have put together, it's incredible. I'm yesterday looking around the room at the town hall. Like every one of those people are just like A players, man. There's no
doubt about it. There's every single person in that room is an A player.
Yeah, it was just like, man. I mean, we've had to go through a few people to get to that point, right? And like people like get slung out because they just don't fit in there. But it's so exciting to see where we're going. And as far as the $1 billion goes, hey, I'm here to help get us there, wherever we can get. And I dare not doubt that we can get there because I'm a very optimistic person. I always like to think the glass is half full. So if we get there and I'm around to see it or not, that's awesome. But what's I think more important is that we take care of our people, and we do great work, and we just continue to build and make a great company and deliver an amazing product. And whatever that ends up being, I think that's going to be a good result for everybody.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see what we can do, how close we can get.
Yeah.
A lot of people doubted us when we said it was going to be 30 million. I remember a lot of people, vendors included. I won't name any names, but there's a number of people who came up to me and said, "Hey, I just want you to be realistic, and you're saying things that I think are going to really you're going to let yourself down.
Yeah.
Just 3 million would be amazing."
Yeah.
I go, "It's 30 million."
Yeah. Put a zero on the end of that.
And I got mentored by a lot of people, and all that did was just add a chip on my shoulder and make that bigger.
Oh yeah.
And then on the other side, I had so many people saying, "You're absolutely going to hit 30 million. You're going to blow right by it."
Yeah.
And we haven't hit 30 million yet. Actually, that's kind of cool.
That's right.
So we didn't wait to hit 30 million before we set our next
almost
target.
Halfway through 2026 too. So
yeah, I think I'll be surprised if we're below 25 million by the end of the year.
Yeah.
I'll be very surprised.
Yeah, the way things are going.
Well, let's wrap it there. That was a great convo.
You're not going to ask me for a trade secret?
Oh yeah, thank you. Well, caught up in the $1 billion. All right. Yeah. So we end every show with a guest giving their trade secret away. So what's your trade secret for us?
I'm going to make it a real simple one. And it revolves around sales. So quit trying to sell people stuff. When I meet with a client, I'm just trying to help them achieve their landscape goals.
Yeah.
And sometimes it might be like, oh yeah, you need to call Whitlow Concrete, or you need to call, La Selva Tree Service, and not go into it like I got to make this sale to meet my quota. It's like, just try to help them and listen to them and understand what they're trying to get. And then you could formulate your pitch or your ideas. And if it's a good fit and you guys are aligned, then you're probably going to have a good result.
Yeah.
So just try to help people.
I like that.
That's it.
In a world of Andy Elliott's trying to teach you how to close,
Yes.
That is great advice.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you listen to part one, it works based on your close rate.
I've had good results from it. Yeah. Just try to connect with people, meet them where they are, solve their issues if that's what it is, or if they want to make it beautiful, then, you can do that. But don't try to sell them stuff that they don't need.
Yeah.
Just help them get to where they're trying to go.
Sweet. Well, thanks for sharing so much and being vulnerable and sharing the story.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Thanks for tuning in to Trades Talk, where the next generation of disruptors comes to raise the bar. If you got value from today's episode, share it with someone in the trades who's ready to level up. For more tools, insights, and community, follow host Justin White and join the movement at jwhitegroup.com.